Right, this is the next machine on the bench after the little Tiger Cub, and I've literally just set this up and started it right now, and among other things the owner's asked me to have a look at, as well as a view to possibly tuning it a little. This is sort of basically the same as an Electra X, it's a 500 AVL. He bought it in India and had it shipped over back home, but as we can probably hear, he's reported noises in here, or at least it seems like they're coming from in here, and he's asked me to have a look. The electric start, the sprag clutch and everything seem to be working. I just started the engine by the button, but I'm not going to run it for too long. We'll switch it off and have a look to see if we can see any evidence of what might be causing that noise in there. And as is always best with these sprag clutch electric start Royal Enfields, it's best to stop it on the decompressor. That way you don't get any sort of bounce back from compression through the crank and back through the sprag clutch, and possibly inflict wear and damage. Anyway, time to get my sleeves rolled up and get the tools out. We'll get this off and have a look in there, I think. See if we can see any signs of what might be making a noise. I've got the primary cover off now, and I've started taking a look to see if I can find the sources of any sort of noises or the culprits for them. And I'm already, with the spanner on the end of the crank, rotating it. See that click? That sounds, for all the world, like it's coming from around here somewhere, but in actual fact I've checked, and what it is, whether I'll be able to demonstrate this successfully or not I don't know, but at that point of rotation just before the click, the inlet cam is at full lift. And what we're actually having happen is when I go past full lift, just as the cam follower starts to come down again, so it's just going to carry on going up a bit first, then it'll be a full lift and then it'll start coming down. There, just past full lift, as it starts its way down, that's when we get the click. And that, I reckon, is backlash in the timing gear, and it's the inlet cam, the teeth of the inlet cam as it goes over full lift, rather than it being driven around by the gears from the crank via the exhaust cam, and then the inlet cam itself is being forced by the crankshaft, driven round to open the inlet valve, lift the follower. Once you're over full lift, the spring, the valve spring, then starts to drive the camshaft forwards. Once you're past full lift, the pressure of the valve spring on it is enough to drive it, and that clack is the other side of the teeth engaging with each other. There's probably only a couple of thou, perhaps slop there between the teeth on possibly the inlet cam and the exhaust cam, or maybe it's both cams and there's a bit of slop between the exhaust cam and the timing pinion. I know that the camshaft spindles on these are on eccentric adjusters, so I'll probably have the timing cover off soon and just have a look in there and see how things are on that score. But the noises that we heard when it was running, I'm not quite sure that the any backlash in the camshafts would be responsible for that, but I'll take the timing cover off, have a look in there, see what I can find, deal with anything that might need dealing with, and then take it from there. I'm hoping I've got things set up so that I might be able to demonstrate this here, but basically we're at a point now where the exhaust valve has been shut for a little while, The inlet valve is opening, as we can see there. There's the tip of the camshaft coming round to bring it up to full lift. So the exhaust valve and spring and cam aren't having any effect at all, apart from obviously the gear teeth of the exhaust cam are providing a drive from the crankshaft to the inlet cam. Now as we go up to and over full lift, we might hear a click. Just coming on full lift now. I'm turning the engine by the kickstarter. There's a click then, hopefully the camera might have picked it up, and that was just as we went over full lift and started closing again. And that is down to this. Very little at all in the way of movement or play, but just when you've got the weight of the valve spring on that cam and you're forcing the valve open, and then you go over fully open and it starts closing again, the valve spring actually nudges the camshaft forwards, if you like, and you get the noise which carries through the whole gear train. And even there's a tiny, barely detectable bit of backlash in the teeth of the timing pinion and the exhaust cam, but the majority of it is between the inlet cam and the exhaust cam. So I'll try and adjust a bit of that out, and that'll probably quieten down that click that we're hearing, and at least get rid of some of the noise that we heard when the engine was running. Right, well, I've adjusted the eccentric cam spindle adjusters on the timing side, and I've also adjusted the push rods as well, taking any excessive play out of those. So I've got the timing cover back on again now. I'm happy with everything in there. And moving back round to the primary side, I think what I'm going to do is put the primary case back on and sort of make it ready to run again and see what it sounds like after making those adjustments on the timing side. But we've also got quite a bit of play actually in the primary chain, enough to do this. You can actually see where the chain has actually been sort of whipping and touching that. So that would make a bit of a noise, and also there's enough free play for it to do that there as well, and tap against the gear selector shaft. And bearing in mind that when the engine's running and the bike's moving, this would be the tight run of chain and the slack would be down here. It could be this one whipping around and tapping. So anyway, I'll take a little bit of adjustment up on the primary chain. We'll put the primary cover back on, and then I think it will be time to start it up and have a listen to it again and see if it sounds any different. So I've got the engine running again after all those checks, and there's certainly less noise, but there's something still there that we need to find and deal with. When it's coming from the clutch area. But anyway, sorting out the backlash in the cam gears, adjusting the push rods and adjusting the primary chain obviously weren't enough, so this lot's going to have to come apart. I'm going to have to go through the lot to see what I can find. That'll probably be tomorrow.